Alright, so Barrow-Dyad and its many catalysts have been released. The quest is pretty much finished, and let's talk about the format. I'm someone who's criticized the past exotic quest formats, and the change in this one, there are some good ones to note, and the biggest one for me is not having to do the exotic mission a handful of times in a row to get everything done. It's something that does still exist in other quests, like the dungeon quest for Sundered Doctrine, that essentially required you to keep a boss checkpoint at some points in the quest, because it was easier to do that than, go back to the beginning, put in a code in the dial, and then go all the way back to defeat the boss once again. And a lot of exotic missions are like that. We go do some secret thing inside the quest or the exotic mission, and then kill the boss again. Problem with that is, with the format of previous seasons, it was just go do it all at once, a la carte, do it as fast as you want for as much as you want. So it is a bit of a catch-22, right? Where you want to have the agency to do the quest when you want, but you also don't want to be time gated from doing the quest. You see how this is a bit of a dilemma? Yeah, so this season changed that to where you kind of had to wait to go back into the mission, at least to get anything of meaning out of it. There were also other ways to get the other catalyst. And that was cool too. I really think that's something Bungie should explore, because you want to do these exotic missions, they're fun, but I think it's more so the concept of being forced to do it multiple times to get the catalyst. Whereas going and doing the new strike, or maybe something in the nether, using the vast amount of content that this episode has in order to diversify the player experience, because doing something over and over again is the essence of a game like Destiny, but you want to try to limit it as much as you can so that it's not players doing something that they have to do because the quest is telling them to, but they want to go back and do some good content, right? Great example of this is raids are obviously some of the best content in the game alongside dungeons, and sometimes you just want to go back and do one for fun, even though maybe you forget how the raid works or how certain mechanics happen and all that stuff. It's still a fun time, but if you're forced to do something like that through a quest multiple times in a row, you're probably going to be like, yeah, I'm going to stay away from this raid for a little while. Which, crafting with the Vogue weapons has maybe done that for a few people. I don't know about you, but Vogue is a very boring raid overall when you compare it to the newer raids. That's a whole other can of worms. So I do want to sit here and just applaud that, the diversity in how you're acquiring these catalysts for Barrow-Dyad. That's great to see, and I'm very happy it's shaken up a little bit. That being said, there's still one frustrating wrinkle to this quest, and that is you are required to get collectibles. And the way these collectibles work is that you have to go to the vendor, the shaping slab for this episode, and change your paths, either resolve or ambition, and based on which path you're on, you'll be able to see certain worms. I think it's tithing and some other worm spawn. It's just a different name. Same collectible, just looks different, right? And there are, I think, 2 or 3 in each area of the nether. I'm not sure exactly on the numbers, not that it really matters, but there were some bugs going on. There's a new area in the nether now, the Hull Breach, where you initially land in Destiny 1. There's like a Cabal ship that they crashed into and all that stuff, or that crashed into the Dreadnought. And basically the Hull Breach wasn't spawning initially, or at least it was spawning less often, so you weren't getting that area initially. When it was supposed to be heavily featured at the beginning of Act 3. So they basically just made it the guaranteed destination each time that you land on the Nether. Of course, this did mess with some other people's attempts to get all of the worms, because maybe you were on, ambition for a while and you didn't get the other path, so you need to go through the other destinations and get the other worms, but you're just not having luck getting that certain area that you need, and it's frustrating. The Nether consists of 3 areas usually. I think there's 4 or 5 areas now that exist that can go in the rotation. And so if the Hull Breach was guaranteed to be the first one, it was basically a dice roll, 1 in 4 chance of getting the other destination that you needed. So not great odds, and there's really a simple way to fix this, and it's just to let people choose the first place they land or something along those lines. There's an explore mode that is supposed to be a less intense version of the Nether. I really don't know why they didn't just make that explore mode essentially that. You can choose where you want to go. There's not as much loot maybe as there is in the normal Nether or expert, but you can just chill and look for secrets and these worms. It's explore. That's what you're meant to do. It's kind of obvious, right? So, I don't want to bash too much, because the Nether, I think, is a really cool activity. It is, but the execution here is just, it's not good. And that's all I have for the critique on this exotic quest. I do think it is a better format than what we're used to, and for the longest time people have been asking for these quests to change, and they have. This seasonal content or episodic content, whatever you want to call it, it's only around for a little while, so using it to the best of your capabilities and also updating it every act is a really cool concept to keep it fresh, and to at the very least have something new to come back to every act, which is hard to do. And the nature of live service games makes it really hard to quantify just how much content we get every single season, but it's a lot. And again, that's why I'm so happy that this exotic quest decided to use some of that content. The rest of Act 3 is wrapping up, and then after that we'll have Ride of the Nine stuff. I know I haven't been uploading a lot recently. I've had a lot of personal stuff going on, and you can probably tell by the sound of my voice if you watch any of my other videos that I'm a little sick. Right now I'm coming off of being sick for the 2nd time in 2 months, so there's also been that. I didn't want to subject everyone to my nasally voice, but I'm feeling better, and I've had the itch to come back and just talk about this stuff. So yeah, that's again all I have to say. In the coming weeks we'll probably have some Act 3 thoughts, as well as some stuff to get ready for the Ride of the Nine with, which is going to be so much fun, and I can't wait to get to that point in Act 3. But for now, thanks for watching, and see ya.